let us continue on with Rayman 2 Revolution. In these final two parts, I'm just going to be focusing on, well, I can't say just, because I will show off them rest of the minigames and such. This and the next video will be a collectathon, fetching the last of the lums and the last of the familiar spirits. If you're not interested in that, well, you may as well skip this video. If not, here's everything that I failed to fetch before, some of which it couldn't be helped. Others, there was kind of no excuse. In this hub world especially, the very first frickin' hub world, I had so much time to search thoroughly, but alas, I had to spend several more hours on this game to, well, I can't say alas since it was enjoyable, but, you know, it took a lot longer than it should have. As you may know, that there is a lot of footage I had to cut out. There was so much, 80% of the footage will never see the light of day. Just make sure these don't drag on for too long. I'm kind of surprised that having to collect everything else ended up only being a couple videos long. Can't complain. So in this area, I'm gonna assume there are piranhas here as well. But nope, you're able to go for a dive here. You're able to swim freely. That jingle is worthy. Just using that mushroom as a trampoline. So, with the magnet, it's clearly going to be a lot easier to fetch every single lum. Although for finding the familiars, you are on your own. You just gotta hear out where exactly they are. And one thing that will probably be obvious is that the magnet will just simply attract to wherever the lums are and not the path you need to take to get to him. So if you end up being blocked by a landscape, which is going to happen multiple times, you're still going to do a lot of searching. You're still going to have to go through blindly unless you put a guide or walkthrough. Online walkthrough, I should say. Simply saying guide sounds really redundant to walk through. I think it's rather neat that this area, just like in a few levels in the first game, doesn't have music, but instead you just have nature to listen to. It is always neat to hear. I enjoy listening to the sound of nature, sound of insects and whatnot. It's a really good way to relax. So here's one of the few parts where you have to earn the rain dance in order to get to finish this collectathon in the area. This one was a biggest pain to have to edit out because I was overcomplicating it. Even if the design's a little complex, I still ultimately have to go through a path of an oval instead of having to go back and forth, instead having to make some awkward jumps here and there. Way overcomplicating this. I should have just stuck with, as opposed to, should I go this way or should I have head that way first? It doesn't really like it. You bounce on that, but it's like a trampoline. That is how you get to that particular familiar. Prepare to be greeted. But to think, one of the earliest parts in the game has one of these red pirates, one of the toughest enemies in the game, even if it's just one to face off. Still kind of a bizarre thought. And done. Here's this particular awkward jump that I was thinking of. I was doing it completely wrong here. I was supposed to get to that from having to go an old goal. But no, complicate things. Like, I don't even go the wrong path, go all the way with it. Instead, I kind of hesitate, kind of turn around. It's like I'm not really sure what I want to do. I got incredibly cocky there. It happens to all of us, if not or at least most of us. Right here is a facepalm. Like, there's some lungs I could have picked up. Little did I realize. One thing that I will learn as I reluctantly go through one of the worst levels in the game, perhaps my least favorite, is that not only do you not have to mash the attack button in order to keep having that plum flow, but you could have also, used the joystick in the opposite direction you want to go in order to make progress with it. I mean, it is rather weird that there are two ways to control it, but still, you'd think you'd at least give the freaking joystick, the analog stick, a shot. Even if attacking does something rather similar, you have to admit, two different ways to control it. It's kind of weird. Still, no less a face palm. No less one of those face palm moments. Those caterpillars, yes, they're called caterpillars, are relentless. Very easy enemies, but they show no mercy. They really try to chase you. There you go, slightly younger me. That is where you get the last lumps in this area. Meanwhile, it is night time. Yeah, sure, let us take inspiration from a book about a curious girl who ends up in this crazy-ass world. Why not? Lots of characters have done it. Even Mario's mushrooms have taken inspiration from that. Thankfully, as you're tiny, Rayman, you will not grow weaker. Your dex will deal the same amount of damage to enemies. It seems to be you do not stay short for long. The animation's kind of cool, having to grow and shrink, but it still feels like padding. It still takes perhaps a little longer than it should. Kind of missed it when Rayman were shrinking and growing is instantaneous. Meanwhile, back in the area where we freed Lee, and I still ship him and Lee, by the way. There it is. There's that final familiar, if I can speak correctly. So here's one fun fact to mention. In the Japanese version of Rayman 2, the Asians actually decide to recolor Rayman's attire to wear a blue shirt because apparently it was thought that purple meant wicked or something, whereas it actually means wealth. It was like a mistake on the Japanese part or something. It's the only Rayman game there that has changed the color of Rayman's clothes. And strangely enough, while Origins and Legends did get localized there, Rayman 3 did not get officially released there. I guess this game just did that poorly there. Even back when foreign game sims sold more than foreign games there nowadays. Okay, Mosquito. It is neat that even if you can't interact with some of the characters, it's neat that some of the characters that some of which are never seen again still make cameo appearances in this game. I'm hoping for the next Rayman game they do try for something like this, or Rayman 3 for that matter. Because as awesome as Legends is, I would not mind heading back to trying another 3D Rayman game. I mean, they originally did attempt with a Rayman 4 for the Wii, but you know, that ended up focusing a lot more on the rabbits, which I pretty much didn't care about at all, as opposed to a sequel to Rayman 3. Thank God the raving rabbit craze is over. Thank God Ubisoft is doing little to no focus on him, because I didn't give a shit about those ugly rabbits, to be honest. Even with Rayman in the title, I had next no interest in trying them. So, here's the area that these lums have been a tease. Something took a while. Can't really blame myself, but you're only able to hover from that spot to be able to reach up there. I tried to, for like 20 minutes to find a solution how to get up there to those lumps, but little did I realize I needed another ability. Another dance animation. You have to be rather precise with where you're standing in order for this to work. It took me quite a while thanks to that. There's no like indication where exactly to stand, so you just have to kind of guess. Rapidly press attack. That has been ignited, so let us get across. Also to mention, lately I've been playing through some Rayman Fiesta Run. I have praised Jungle Run quite a bit, but Fiesta Run, I dare say, surpasses it. Anyone who's into Rayman at all should pick up those games. There's no reason for you, if you have a capable enough phone or Android, that you shouldn't pick them up. But if you must choose only one, definitely go for Fiesta Run. The levels in the game are longer, so there's more replay value. The music, the graphics are awesome, just like in Jungle Run. And I like how there are some power-ups to choose from before you start the level, whether it's like a path that indicates where exactly to pick up all 100 lums, or getting a golden heart, or getting like a phoenix item, phoenix light, I should say. Rayman Fiesta Run did not disappoint at all, except that once I got to a certain point in that candy cane land, the game ended up crashing on me, and it wasn't a coincidence. I tried that level 7 times, and it still crashed on me trying to go to the next level. Ubisoft is an official company, so there's no excuse for that. Unless it just happened to have the my Android just happened to have the bare minimum requirements in order to play that game. Since there is quite a bit of slowdown, in fact, sometimes the game plays like a 1/3 of the actual speed, which doesn't take away from the enjoyment too much, but it is still clearly an issue. Hopefully not too many Fiesta Run players went through the same problem. Hopefully it's just a huge coincidence. Hopefully the start over the game will prevent that glitch from happening. If it can call it a glitch. Well, I guess why wouldn't you call it a glitch? So that area I was just in, that was pretty well hidden. It would take me. Actually, I'm not sure I would go had I not had the magnet, but that was pretty tricky. Usoft's part. I seriously may have never found it. Never would have found it if it weren't for the magnet. See, for most of the footage, it's gonna be lava themed. Not my favorite levels, but you gotta get them dealt with, I suppose. It seems, well, it seems, and it's definitely true. You're able to have, like, ascend higher than other places above lava. Sometimes you can only hover like several feet above the lava or magma. But then again, how tall is Rayman anyway? I always assumed he was like the size of a grade schooler kid. But yeah, again, Fiesta Run. Great game. Strongly recommend it. Still. And of course, I'll be sure enough going through these mini games. This upcoming one is not too exciting. Most of these don't give you replay value outside of beating your own time, which even then doesn't add much more than several minutes worth of gameplay time. It's certainly not an exception. Time to use them webs as trampolines. As trampolines, really. I truly do have difficulty speaking at times. But if you've seen a good chunk of my videos, you probably knew that already. All too well. I make mistakes in my wording more than I care to admit. So for here, gotta break the momentum with your helicopter ability. Although even if you don't do that, you're still gonna have a pretty good chance. It's not too difficult, especially not for being the second to last minigame. But I wasn't pleased with my performance, so I went back in, finished 10 seconds earlier, if anyone cares. One neat thing is that, if like the lums just happen to be at the beginning of the level, or whatever, you can just simply head back through the portal to be able to get back to Hub World. So obviously you don't have to go through the entire level. All through the red lums that were once collectathon, that once made the game a collectathon. So at the beginning, just happened to have that final familiar and lums. And this one, I took a few minutes trying to locate that particular familiar. So Where is it? It's been crying out for help. I've been searching thoroughly. Little did I know that it was submerged. Of course, it being submerged begs the question, how can we heard its voice so clearly? It should sound more like that was the best underwater impression.